me minimize this. Okay. Okay. So momentum is incredibly important in building a business. How many of you guys here have ever spent some time to build up some leads, worked really hard to go get them, and then started to facilitate those leads and stopped working on building more leads? Has anybody here done that? I believe like we all have done that, right? So you start to lead generate, you get some traction, you get some motion, and then the first thing you give up is your lead generation, right? Because you're busy facilitating transactions. So when we talk about building momentum, we're going to talk about time blocking. And there's only one important thing to time block around, and that's your lead gen time. When you time block your lead gen time, then everything else falls into place, right? Because most of our problems stem from not having enough leads, and we're going to talk about that. Plus, building momentum comes from what? It comes from taking the leverage that you have and expanding it, right? So if you have one listing, turning it into 2 listings or 3 listings. So that was something that we had a goal of. Every time we took a listing, we would turn it into 2 or 3 listings and 2 buyers. So one of the things that we're going to look at is, how do you build momentum? How do you stay consistent? And that's why we've created a 90-day program, so that you guys are with us every week, couple of times a week, with role plays every day for you to show up. You don't have to be there at every one. We'll talk about it. And with accountability, which to me was the end all be all. Simple accountability groups. That's where the magic happens. It doesn't happen in the training, even though we only have 20 people on here. You know, there could be 1,000 people in a training. The magic happens in the accountability group. Because when you're surrounded by 9 of your peers, because there's 10 in a group, and you're all sharing your frustration and you're sharing the things that are holding you back, then everyone starts to realize you're all in the same boat and you all have the same things that are holding you back, and you can all support each other in moving forward quickly and easily. Accountability groups, to me, is one of the most powerful things in the world. So in real estate, is there a difference between momentum and real momentum? How many of you guys have worked really hard and gotten nothing to show for it? Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, I mean, you could, Terry's laughing, you could have momentum and still be going down the wrong path, right? Which to me, by the way, is going to be another kiss of death. That's why we're going to go from 1.5 million realtors to 1 million. In 2008, we went from 1 million to 600. Right now, we're at 1.5. I think we'll go down to 1 million. Because people have worked really hard and will continue to work hard and have nothing to show for it. And that's a recipe for disaster. So what do we want to focus on? We want to focus on the motivated, right? Now, I mean, you know, Dorian, it's interesting because you texted like, it sucks out, it's tough out there, right? But I have one question. Is there enough business for all 20 of the people that are on this call to kill it out there, to do amazingly well? Absolutely, more than enough, right? There's plenty of business out there. It's where are we looking for the business? How are we setting that up? Who are we focusing on? And those are the things that really matter, because there's no way there isn't enough business for all of you to make $1 million. There's plenty of, we know that. We know so many realtors. I mean, I was managing the Beverly Hills office, right? You don't get an office in that Beverly Hills office without making $1 million. There were 40 offices total. There's plenty of people that are making exorbitant amount of money in real estate. Now I'll break it down for you guys in a much easier way to understand. We're all in Los Angeles, except for Terry. We're all in LA. I mean, but still, the average price point in LA is in your office is $1 million, right? I know in the Hollywood office, it was something like 1.2 million. So it's right around the same. So $1 million in real estate, I mean, $1 million price point in real estate, if you're doing one transaction a month, that's $300,000, right? Because each transaction's worth $25,000, 25 times 10, 250 plus 2 months, $300,000. And we should be able to get you there within the next 2 years. If you're not there already, we should be able to get you there easily in the next 2 years. One transaction a month in real estate is not a lot. It's not a tremendous amount. It's completely doable for each and every one of you, at least as a starting point in your mind. That should be the starting point. So we talked about 3 to 4 consistent sources of lead generation. So here's our vision. Our vision is, I need to minimize you guys. Our vision is a platform that focuses on training agents to be the best version of themselves as an entrepreneur and as a representative for their clients. So what does that mean? You know, Renee and I were just talking about it this morning before we jumped on this call. That means that we want you to live a full circle of life, right? Not just in real estate, in all areas of your life. And usually how you show up in one area mirrors how you show up in a lot of areas of your life. And what I've seen with realtors a lot is I've seen a lot of realtors who do have success, but they're so busy working that they don't even have the appreciation of what they've accomplished, right? They're so busy with their nose to the grindstone. And like I said, my partner and I worked less every year and made more every single year. And so our goal with you guys is to teach you how to get to a place where you're working less and making more money. So our mission statement is to help people become the cause of their lives rather than the effect of their lives. You know, this came to me last night because I used to love this quote when I was doing presentations. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for life. You know, and that's what our goal is here, is to teach you how to fish, is to teach you how to build your business the right way so that it's continually moving in an upward trajectory. So our values are, to me, commitment is everything. If you're committed, we can work around anything that's holding you back, right? If you're committed, we can work on any of the limiting beliefs or emotional baggage or any of the things that are preventing you from accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. If you're committed to your lead gen on a daily basis, and to me, by the way, if you guys ask me if I like lead generation, no, of course not. I didn't wake up in the morning and go, woohoo, I get to call people or door knock. But what I love was what lead generation brought to me. The opportunities that it gave me to do what I loved in real estate and to make a lot of money doing it and help a lot of other people. It was fabulous. And I understood that I had to do certain things I may not love in order to get the things that I want. You know, the second thing is spirituality, right? So I share this with you guys because it's funny, because Fran was the one who told me, Fran Hughes was the one who told me, go to Mike Ferry, right? So I learned from Mike Ferry about lead generation. And I also had an inherent problem with the way they did their business, right? I know a lot of Mike Ferry trained agents, and they're very much about the numbers and about getting the deals that they want to get. And there's really no focus on supporting other people and helping them and building your business from referrals, which is really what we should all be focusing on and working towards, right? By the way, that's another secret I'll tell you. You know, I tell you guys you should lead generate right now. That doesn't mean you have to go out there and lead generate for the rest of your career. It just means that in order to get the business that you want to get, you have to have the right people in your database. So if you're there, great, then we focus on the database. And if you're not, then we focus on getting business from your database and building your database to a place where you can get there. And then it becomes a choice whether you want to talk to people you know or don't know. And I'll tell you, for most lead generators, they never stop because they're good at it and they like talking to people and they like getting business from it. By the way, the other thing I'm going to share with you guys, which is so important for you to hear, is right now in this market and the market that we're heading into, people are going to appreciate proactive people more than anything in the world. And when you're out there reaching out to people, you're proving to them how proactive you are, right? That's a given. You're literally proving them to you're proving to them how proactive you are. The other thing that I'll share is one of the things that I learned, not from Mike Ferry, from Keller Williams. So I learned from Keller Williams about how to bring my values into my real estate business. And what I mean by that is, Keller Williams had their belief system, which was called the Y4C2Ts, right? And they win-win or no deal, integrity, do the right thing. Now, I could sit here and go through what each one of those is, and I'll tell you why, because I had Y4C2Ts in my listing presentation. And I could tell my client, this is what win-win or no deal means to me. This is what integrity means to me. And when you talk like that, your clients really you build rapport with your clients, and they really start to attach to you as well. Because there's not a lot of other people that are going out there talking about integrity, talking about the things that matter to them. What are other agents out there doing? They're talking about how they're number one and how they're the best and how you should work with them because of that. And I had none of those things. I couldn't say I did more deals than these other agents. I could say, we could say, my partner and I, that we would care about them and their transaction more than anybody else that we could think of. And that doesn't mean that other people wouldn't care as well. I just know that I'm going to come at it from a spiritual place. I'm going to come at it with this belief system. And those things are so powerful. You guys have to understand, people are going to attach to spirituality as we move forward with the things that are going to happen in the market. And we'll talk about those as well. So transformation should be, you should always be trying to grow and transform. To me, that's the basis of life, is transformation, is growth and transformation. The only difference that I have now between what I used to believe is that now I know transformation is easy. I used to believe that transformation was something that was very difficult. Now I believe that it's very easy. Excitement and fun. Guys, first of all, excitement and fun should be a basis of everything that you do. And humor is such a wonderful weapon to be able to use, to be able to disarm people, especially when they're frustrated with something, to be able to get people to put their guard down so that you can build more rapport with them. So excitement and fun should be built into everything that you do. And it's kind of why we want to create this as a little bit competitive as well, right? Not in the sense of like, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to do better than you, but in the sense of, let's all see what's our best that we can do. I don't want you to compare yourself to anybody else. I want you to compare yourselves to you and where you're at. And collaboration, right? This is going to show you more than anything. Collaboration is such a key component in real estate, because collaboration allows you to leverage too. And we're going to get into leverage as well. Okay. So the agenda for today, we did the quick introduction, the ground rules, okay? We're going to talk about the ground rules, time blocking, learning about mindset and skill set, practice, reframing limiting beliefs, go over victim versus accountability chart, and review remaining session topics for the 90-day program. And then the action steps that we're going to take. Okay, so the ground rules, guys. The ground rules are really simple. Because we're not charging people for this, it's not about finances, it's about commitment to yourself. We are looking for people that are commitment, and this really works when everyone's committed. If we have people that aren't showing up, especially when it comes to accountability groups and to doing the assignments, then it becomes very distracting to others. So our request is that you be present. Allow yourself to be free from distraction. Turn your phone on do not disturb, close, minimize any other tab. And Renee and I discussed this morning. Look, I don't want to tell people how to be, because we all have to make our own decisions for ourselves. And at the same time, I have a question to pose. How is it that I could do 12 transactions at once and still find the time to time block and to show up and to do things that were necessary? That's an open-ended question. I'm not going to answer that. Agreed. Be consistent. Yes, thank you. Consistency. And be present. Camera on and participate. Hey guys, it's more important that your camera's on during Renee's trainings than my trainings, although I would really appreciate if you do have your camera on. It allows us, since there's only 20 people here, we have such an opportunity to participate, right? We have an opportunity for everybody to engage. And that makes it even more fun. Be open. It's interesting, be open. Not, that's it. Not all wisdom is in your school. So it's so interesting. I learned that in my spiritual trainings recently. Not all wisdom is in my school, right? Not everything that I say is accurate. Although I do want to reach out to John Favreau and ask him if I can incorporate "this is the way" into our trainings, because I love The Mandalorian. And I just feel like it's so cool to be able to say, "This is the way" at the end of this is the way. Not all wisdom is in your school. Be here with the intention to learn something new. This is the most important thing for you guys to hear. In coaching, it's not about right or wrong. It's not about failure or success. It's about feedback, right? Because every opportunity is an opportunity for you to grow. And you grow from feedback, right? Beth, don't let your drunk monkey. Yes, your drunk monkey. By the way, I don't know if you all know what drunk monkey is. I had one here, like a little drunk monkey puppet that I like to bring into all of my trainings. Yeah, our drunk monkey sits on our shoulders and tells us all the things that are wrong and why it's everybody else's fault and not ours, right? Don't let your drunk monkey invade your mind during, I'm gonna shift that a tiny bit, Beth, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because your drunk monkey is gonna show up whether you want it to or not. Just don't listen to it, right, Beth? And by the way, for those of you that don't know, Beth is the last agent I ever mentored.
You're still my mentor.
Yeah. And so, listen, I am still your mentor. And, everybody is dealing with things. Everybody is dealing with craziness in real estate right now. And so we're dealing with craziness in real estate from so many different aspects. What happens when the real estate market shifts? Fraud comes out of the woodworks, right? Crappy companies are running rampant without a lot of management or control.
Escrow.
Yeah. And I get it, right? And I've been there and I get it. And so let's acknowledge that. Let's all be open about those things, because one of the things that we're going to do with you guys too is we're going to share with you meditations, and we're going to share with you things that we want you to do, affirmations on a daily basis that will also quickly shift your beliefs and remove some baggage and limiting beliefs. And so like the meditation is a 7-minute meditation. And we'll get into that even more in more detail as well. But we are providing, if you're not releasing right now, if you're not finding ways to release, then you're eating it. And that's so unhealthy and so dangerous and so bad. So this is an example of time blocking, right? The only thing that I care about time blocking is your role play, which we already have blocked, and your calls, right? Those are the things you have to block every day, your role play and your calls. So what's your belief system? Mindset is everything. See, people always have that debate of what's more important, mindset or skill set. What I explain to people is that when you have the right mindset, everything else will work itself out. If you have the right mindset, you're going to develop that skill set, right? If you have the right mindset, you're going to accomplish everything that you accomplish. If you believe you're going to succeed, you're going to succeed. If you believe that your client should work with you, they're going to work with you. So the first person we want to believe that is yourself, right? By the way, I share with you freely, man. I shared with you about the door knocking. The first times I went to go get contracts signed, and we didn't have DocuSign back then. I'm dating myself a little bit. It was, with a pen, right? Like my hand shook when I was asking a seller to sign a contract, right? I didn't see the value in myself. I didn't believe in myself. And all of that quickly goes away with repetition and with consistency, right? So change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change is probably one of my, if not my favorite quote ever. Because I'm going to share with you how that changed my life. Literally changed my life. So it changed my life because I did not want to be a salesperson when I got into real estate. I'm like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not this, I'm not that. I literally went to a Mike Ferry event, and Mike Ferry said, who in this room doesn't believe they're a salesman, doesn't want to be? I stood up proudly, right, with all these other people, said, now get out of the room. Why are you here? You're a salesperson. Be the best damn salesperson that you can be, right? And the shift that happened for me was, I know how many bad realtors there are out there, as we all do, right? We know how many bad realtors there are out there. And so when you're not helping these people, when you're not committed to find these people and help them, you're doing them such a disservice, because they're going to end up with a horrible realtor. And I've seen the things that happen. And we're not even at that point yet where it's going to get really ugly. I've seen those things happen over and over and over again. So I took it on as my shift was changing the way I look at things was, I'm doing these people a disservice. If I'm not reaching out to them, if I'm not getting a hold of them, they're going to end up with the worst realtor and have the worst experience. That shifted the way I attack things, the way I approach things, right? And these simple shifts are things that are massive. See, they're little nuances, but they create massive differences. And these are things we're going to work on as we're moving forward. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Forget just do it, man. Everyone's like, oh, this is the original, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And that's what it comes down to. So we are all going to, and I don't like that word, by the way, we're all going to know that we can. By the end of this 90 days, I guarantee that we are all going to know that we can do this easily. You can have reasons or results. You can't have both. 1150. Perfect. You can have reasons or results. You can't. I love this quote. You can have. Do I need to explain this to you? You can have reasons why it doesn't work, or you can have results. Now, I prefer that all the other realtors out there have every single reason it doesn't work, while you guys laugh. Not in their face, please. We do want to be spiritual, but you guys laugh internally, because you're not full of reasons, you're just full of results. These things really changed my real estate life. Man, if I can either have a reason or a result, there's no in between, right? Then I'm always going to be focused on the results and not the reasons. I hope you get that. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. I want you to know that the most spiritual growth that anybody has is pushing themselves out of their comfort zones. And I also want to share with you guys something so that we're all clear about what comfort zone means, right? Because listen, some of you may be, let me talk about myself, okay? I can be a naturally aggressive person. I'm an Israeli from New York, as I like to say, right? So, yeah, so like for me, being uncomfortable wasn't asserting myself with clients. My growth was being vulnerable with people. That was my growth. So for some of you, the growth might be, no, you have to be more assertive with people because you're not. And for some of you, that growth might be, you need to be more sensitive to, there's all different things, right? Whatever that uncomfortable factor for you is, that's where we need to push. That's where you need to break through. And we also have breakdowns in order to have breakthroughs. And I like to position it like that because it's literally the universe. And as a coach, I always had a box of handkerchiefs on my desk. And as soon as an agent came into my office and started crying, I would celebrate because I knew they were having a breakdown and they were about to have a breakthrough. Now, they didn't really love that so much, just FYI. They do after the fact. They love it. They appreciate it. In the moment, no, you're not loving it when you have stress and you don't feel good and it's uncomfortable, right? That's where all our growth happens in the universe. And Renee and I are going to hold space for you 20 people to succeed at the highest level over the next 90 days. And the highest level, by the way, shouldn't be how many transactions you got out of it. It should be where you're at in 90 days versus where you're at right now. Don't forget, it's about commitment and consistency. The other thing we like to do is we break things down into 90 days at a time. I'm not worried about a full year business plan. I want to know 90 days at a time what we're going to do, make the tweaks, what's working, what's not working. Mindset is about implanting ideas and beliefs. I want you to understand this, right? And that's why I want you here live. I have a skill with languaging. I am constantly moving you guys forward and breaking down these limiting beliefs just from the conversations that we're having right now. I want you to hear that. Nothing I'm doing is unintentional. It's all intentional. And I'm starting the work of starting to break that stranglehold. The best way of breaking strangleholds is sometimes shocking them a little bit, right? Strangleholds of like limiting beliefs or emotional baggage is shocking them a little bit. Sometimes I will shock my agents when they need it, right? Some of you can share that. I'd rather you didn't, not right now. Don't listen to anyone around you. Guys, it's the #1 kiss of death, man. I will shift the way you think about Renee and I will shift the way you approach real estate and think about real estate and attack it in the next 90 days. As long as you're not listening to those around you that are going to tell you why you can't do it, why it doesn't work. I hope you guys get that. Act like a professional, right? Show respect for your clients and for yourself. See, when I say act like a professional, I mean, treat this as a business, right? I mean, I see so many agents who treat this so amateurishly, not running their business like a business. And that's the recipe for your clients walking all over you, right? The more you treat yourself as a professional, the more other people are going to treat you as a professional. Shifting your mindset when asking for business. We'll talk about that as well. You know, one of the things that I find nuance-wise that holds a lot of agents back is asking for business, right? They'll do everything under the sun to build rapport with people and they won't ask for business. We will, and in the right way. The most important thing is confidence. It's that belief in yourself. And I literally hold a space for all 20 of you. I want you to know, I believe that you can succeed right now. All 20 of the people that we are going to be working with. I believe that you guys can succeed at the highest levels. And the one thing that can't happen is I can't be more committed to your success than you are. I'm going to say that one more time. I cannot be more committed. Renee and I cannot be more committed to your success than you are. We want you guys as committed as we are. Okay, the 6 personal perspectives. Commit to self-mastery, right? These are the perspectives of successful people. Commit to self-mastery. When you become a master of real estate, the game of real estate is over. I can go anywhere in this country and I can build a successful real estate business quickly and easily. And I've done it before. I've stepped into other areas that I never worked and built success very quickly and easily. You guys can do the same thing. It's just about committing to self-mastery. There's only so many conversations and objections you're going to have. I'm going to say that again. When you know how to handle them, that's what I call mastery of real estate. Commit to the 80-20 rule. Does everybody know the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, so to speak? I'm going to really simplify it for you. It's focus on the big rocks, right? Focus on the things that matter. Because if you focus on the detail work, like the minutia, then you don't have enough room to fit those big rocks. So what are the big rocks in real estate? Lead gen, right? I just saw this, James. East Coast Drew here too. Yes, Beth, 7:30 is, we'll talk about that in a second. I'll go through the schedule, everything real quick. Guys, I'll wrap it up. I want to keep you guys on time as much as possible. Move from entrepreneur. So 80-20, the big rocks are lead gen. That's the thing people will give up the first because it's uncomfortable. And I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to myself, right? Because that's what I did. Move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. I'll just share with you, man. For the first 6 months I was at Keller Williams, they kept saying move from E to P. And I'm like, who's eating a pea and what the heck are you guys talking about? They're Texans, so they have really thick accents. Is moving from entrepreneurial, E, to P, to purposeful. That's professionalism. That's what it's talking about. Purposeful, a purposeful way of doing your business. See, entrepreneurs are cool and hip and, hey, I know how to talk to people and I'm great. And that's awesome. And success comes from being purposeful. Make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. What does that mean? So one of the things I want to share with you guys is I went to a training every quarter. Once a quarter, I was in a week of training. If you're not moving forward in real estate, your clients are dragging you backwards. If you're not working and training and constantly going to be more of a professional, what are your clients doing? They're trying to get you to be more of an amateur so that you work the way they want to work, when they want to work, how they want to work. You should constantly be in training to keep getting better and moving yourself forward. I am in training right now, 30 days a year, right now, from where I'm at. I'm still in training and I have a coach. On top of that 30 days of training, I'm in a year. You should constantly be getting better. Remove your limiting beliefs. We're going to work with you on that. That's the biggest, that was the biggest hurdle for me, was I did not believe in myself. Look, I don't have to share with you what happened in my childhood. You just need to know that I wasn't a wonderful childhood, right? Where people were saying you're amazing and you're incredible and you can accomplish anything you want. It was the exact opposite, right? So yeah, you can remove those limiting beliefs. I'm right here to show you that. You know, I went from somebody who couldn't walk and talk and chew gum at the same time to I can walk into any real estate conversation with any top real estate leader in this country and probably teach them a whole bunch of stuff these days because I have done it and none of them have. Because I worked on removing my limiting beliefs and they still have all of those limiting beliefs. Be accountable. Be accountable means be honest. That's what accountability means. You know, I'll share with you guys one thing. When with my partner, we were in coaching together and sometimes he would lie to our coach. The coach would do this and he'd be like, oh yeah, what are you doing? I'd stop her. I'm like, why are we lying? We paid this guy money so we could lie to him. Look, you're going to have things that hold you back. You're going to have things that prevent you from doing some of the stuff that we're talking about doing along the way. Share what that is. Renee is there to support you and help you with that quickly and easily, as am I. but we can't help you if you're not honest and open and vulnerable. And that's where growth happens as well. We're going to talk about this in another class. Look, one of the biggest things that I see as problems is that realtors have is they don't set expectations with their clients up front. When you don't set expectations with your client up front, they'll set expectations for you, right? Share your expectations for what you're responsible for and for what they're responsible for, and get them into agreement. Set expectations about the process and the potential outcomes, because when you take that fear away of a transaction, whether it's a seller or buyer, and they know what might happen and what will happen every step of the way, it makes it so much easier when something comes up. But when they don't know, then it becomes a mountain, almost insurmountable mountain. Victim versus accountability. Are you in victim mode or are you in accountability mode? We're going to share with you the victim versus accountability chart. You should be looking at that. You should print it out and have it on your desk. Victim versus accountability chart. Renee, is that something we share with them? They download from here?
Yep, it should all be in your, excuse me, your student portal right now.
Perfect. Wow, you really know something. See, I'm laughing about it because I know stuff's going to come up. Man, stuff is always going to come up for all of us. My stuff came up last week. So I got sick last week. Victim versus accountability. You need to download that. So the next topic for this week is going to be themes of neurolinguistic programming. And Renee's going to be covering that. That's on Wednesday at 11. Before we get to questions. Okay, so here are the goals, right? I want you guys to add 5 contacts a day into your sphere category. So over the next 90 days, we want to, your sphere should be called once a quarter. This is where the magic happens. It's the one thing that realtors won't do. It's where everything comes from. So we're going to set up who you're going to call every 90 days. That's once a quarter. So we want to start setting up this sphere category for the people you are going to call. And so the first week is 5 people a day, 5 sphere a day. And we have scripts that we're going to share with you that you can utilize. And you come to the role play, right? So I'll have to bring up the role play in a second. Track your numbers. You're going to have a number tracking sheet. We want you to track your numbers in there. So just input your daily numbers into your accountability sheet. You will also get an email at the end of the week on Thursday to put in all your numbers into CTE, which is a company we're working with to track our numbers, so that on Friday, when we come to the accountability call, I'll have all those numbers in front of me and we can really go through them and talk about them. Listen to the daily affirmations. I think we want them to read their own, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to share with you the daily affirmations that you should be saying. So how did I quickly become somebody that felt confident in real estate? Affirmations was one of the most powerful tools ever. I'm a powerful listing agent. People want to talk to me each and every day. I could go on. Those things transform my life. Role play with scripts. So we have scripts for your sphere. We have different ones you can utilize. That's the first thing we're going to share with you, the scripts for your sphere. And then role play is tomorrow at 11, although tomorrow's caravan day, which everybody here is going to be on. I'd like to move role play to 2. Is there anyone that has an objection for me moving role play to 2 p.m. tomorrow? Okay. We will send.
I do. Sorry. It's me, Beth. I have a buyer from 11:30 to like 3. I can do it in the car
Okay. Yeah. Just.
or 3. It's just with you, right? Or now?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll do it in the morning or after.
You're good to miss this one.
It looks like a few people can't do 2, Ophir.
Because it's from brokers are 11, like the brokers ones are usually from 11 to 2. So people are going there. They're not honestly going to get out there and they're with their clients. I wouldn't think they'd be
Okay.
free at 2:30. I don't know. I have
Yeah,
no
let's do, can you guys do 7:30 tomorrow?
can. I can, but I don't know about anyone else.
Okay, perfect. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do role play tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and at 11 a.m. You guys can make one or the other. If you can't make it, don't worry about it. That's not the end of the world. The goal is the consistency. So our role play is going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. And then Tuesday, I'll have to switch because I realize everybody's on caravan. So we'll move it to maybe later in the afternoon at 3. We'll get back to you on that. But for tomorrow, there will be role play available at 7:30 and at 11. Okay. And you guys will be getting an email with your accountability group that will be happening on Friday. So Friday, we're going to have an accountability group at 2 and one at 2:30. They're half hour. Accountability groups are only half an hour with 10 people in a group.
How long is the role play? 7:30.
So the role play is 30 minutes. Literally, the goal is to go from role play right into making your calls so that you're not practicing on clients. The first week of role play is going to be mostly listening to me because I'm going to set up a lot of the strategies and how we specifically set up the conversations that we're going to have and the questions that we're going to ask. So the first week you guys will be on there with me, and then we'll start to get people role playing together as well.
Yay.
Absolutely. The other thing you guys should know is we have structured a deal with a social media company. Starting next week, we'll be able to bring to you literally social media that you can just take and drop in and send out. The goal for this program is to bring as much to the agents as possible that they can take and drop into their business so their focus can be on talking to people and building their database and getting in front of more people. So we are going to have a lot of stuff that we're going to be offering, but just know starting next week, we'll be able to give to you guys a full set of social media week by week that you guys can just take and start sharing. Okay. We are over by 10 minutes. Please forgive me.
No.
I think we're done. Renee?
Yep, I think we're finished today.
Yeah.
Hi, Renee.
So guys, I see John's email. Okay, we're gonna have to have some modifications, and I realize that you guys all have 11 a.m. on Monday every other week. So I will get with Renee. We'll switch up the times just so that we can get everybody on board. Thanks, Justin. Thank you all for being here. If you have any other questions, now is the time to speak up. Perfect. So we will be sending this out to everybody. By the way, just so you guys know, the recordings everything's recorded. You should be able to access them through logging in. So if you can't make a class, it will be recorded. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye. We got some